Hey guys, welcome to Oddcast. I'm Joe, and this is Java, and we're going to dive right into Shazam, Fury of the Gods. So, this is your chance now. Spoiler warning, I don't know what could be a worse spoiler than the third trailer, but we'll get into that in just a moment.
Don't watch the third trailer.
It's like stepping on the third rail if you want to have dramatic impact. Alright, so let's jump right into it. So this is, of course, the DC sequel to Shazam. I guess the first one was just called Shazam. Sure. I don't know. They're kind of in an identity crisis in the film. Like, they don't even know what they're calling themselves.
Yeah, that's a fair thing because we don't know what to call them.
Yeah, he can't figure out, like, oh, is my name Shazam? Yes. Yeah, I don't...
Go get him, Captain Marvel.
Yeah, like, okay. So, I think that overall the movie suffers from Thor Love and Thunderism. I don't have a term for it yet. If somebody out there can drop in the comments what we should term this or what we should coin the term of, it's the same thing that happened to Willow, which is find a lane. Find a lane and try to stick to it. Also,
Story fatigue?
Is this the DC film where James Gunn accidentally sank it by saying, hey...
Gun fatigue.
Yeah. No, because it's not... He didn't do Thor Love and Thunder. And he didn't do Willow.
Oh, you're right.
I'm saying, like, there's got to be a term for that. Whatever that is, we're going to think of it and I'll share it with you when we come up with it.
Blender fatigue.
What?
Blender fatigue? Throw it in a blender, see what floats to the top?
No, I don't think that's it either. I think that the writers had an idea of where they wanted to go. I don't know. I think my biggest problem is this. There's been no growth for the character between the movies.
I don't agree. I think Billy had a lot of growth in this movie.
Explain.
Well, you see...
I request elaboration.
Elaboration. Okay, so in the last movie, he was, kid with all these powers given to him.
Yeah.
Doesn't really know how to use them.
Yep.
And that's why that continued into this one. But he learned a lesson.
But, okay, so here's the problem, okay? Now, ready? With most characters, I don't get to say, like, oh, this one's the superior one, or this one's the good one, or this is what we measure it to. But, for all intents and purposes, if somebody says Batman, we can all kind of assess for ourselves what makes a good Batman versus what makes a bad Batman.
Well, I mean, he was only this era Shazam. So.
Right, but this era Shazam falls into the same one that was in the Justice League Unlimited animated series, which should not continue to be the optimal version of Shazam. Like,
well, I mean,
to me, he's still kind of just an aloof kid, and the kid doesn't have enough screen time.
You're right.
Like, Freddy...
Oh my God.
Freddy should be Shazam because he's in the movie as much as the title character. He is... But Billy's not in the movie. Like...
Barely.
I don't care about the kid because he's not there. Yeah. He's just not in it. For that matter, most of the Shazam family isn't in it.
Actually, the girl... what's her daggone name?
The one that doesn't transform?
Yeah. I know. It's up to this movie to notice that she didn't transform.
Mary doesn't transform. She gets the emblem.
Yep, that's it. You're the only one that stays.
Yeah.
Good for you.
And you know what? She might change. Maybe it's just they just really cast it.
Team.
Yeah, I don't know.
Her hair and makeup. Everybody gets.
I don't know. I have no answer for that.
And why did I just pay attention to Carlos in this movie? Like, is it Carlos?
Pedro.
That was bad. Anyway, I just paid attention to him in this movie. I was just like, why is he super hot? And why is there such a thing about this fat kid? And then I was just like, oh, they're trying to sell a story here. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, so maybe this is the problem with this movie in particular, is that, like, in the first movie, it was singular. Here is a character, and Freddy was the other character. And that worked pretty well as a formula to tell that story. But
everybody was a character this time.
Yeah, and they were all characters last time, but they weren't all like zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. But in this one, it was very 6 stories. Really, it was like 8 stories trying to find a way to weave themselves together.
Yeah.
The acting, as always, is good.
Yeah.
But the story...
I didn't know I need to see
Helen Mirren
play a villain part like this and with powers and fighting until I saw this movie. I was so excited. Like, when she started fighting, I was like, ooh.
And Lucy Liu also always does a great job.
Good to see you still working.
So again, I really enjoyed it for those moments. Like the acting was good, but the story, it all just kept falling apart. And like the biggest problem is it works as an elsewhere story because if you try to tie it into anything else, the whole thing just slips through your fingers.
Well, much like this popcorn, it's the long cameos are good.
Yeah. So the third trailer totally gave away the third act. Java had not seen the third.
I had not.
Yeah. So he did not know that Wonder Woman was going to show up. I did because 10 seconds into the next trailer, Stick to Saving the World kit, that ruins like any emotional impact that could be had at the ending of the film.
I'm glad I only saw like the first 2 trailers because had I seen that would have killed it for me. Because like, wait, that tells me that she's going to be a bigger part of this movie.
It tells me that like that not only is she in the movie, but that Billy is going to come back. Like those two things are going to happen. And really, sorry, Shazam is going to come back because Billy. I don't know how much that kid got paid, but it was probably too much. Because he wasn't
like, at this point, they just need to put the suit on him because he like between the last movie and this one got super adult looking.
Oh well, now he's only 5 months away from being 18, which they kept emphasizing. But it makes no difference because you did not spend enough time with Billy to actually feel that emotional impact for anything because they were so busy trying to catch the audience up with the story they wanted to tell. The Daughters of Atlas came back.
The rock band?
Yeah, exactly. The rock band came back, and there were 3 of them, but they're not gods. They were but they're not. Or are they?
They are.
They couldn't define it.
Oh yeah, you're right. They didn't really nail that.
They were all over the place because there are no gods left. Oh wait, Wonder Woman.
Actually gods.
But Wonder Woman's a demigod, and that would mean that she definitely killed Ares, who I guess they're not planning on bringing back as a villain. And doesn't Black Adam also have the power of a god? And I feel like if their entire thing is we're going to take back all the powers that were stolen by these Shazam kids, I think Black Adam should have probably been on that list.
I didn't even think about that.
Like, in the first movie, they even tease that he's there. They go to the one seat that's remaining. They're like, whose seat is that? And they look over and it's supposed to be Black Adam's seat. That's whose seat it is. And then in this one, he's not there, and it's like, okay, I can understand why he's not there. But these ladies are really, really upset at these people. And
it's like
he should also be on that list. Yeah.
You know, and you drop a coin at your neighbors, and your neighbor
keeps the coin.
Yeah. You know.
Well, he didn't even just take the coin. He
bought the house.
He took the car that the person was in stealing the coins. He took the whole thing. He wasn't even selected by the wizards.
Oh my god.
And there was a council of wizards, but now there's only one wizard? Like, how does that work?
I want to know about this council of wizards. I really do.
Yeah, well, they were a council, but then they weren't a council, and then there was a champion, and then they started to select champions, but then there was just one champion, but then there were multiple champions. I don't know. Like, if somebody could just map out what the mythos is supposed to be so that then you could align it up, that would probably make a lot of sense. James Gunn, I know that I said that the first thing you should work on is the cameos, and I totally stand by that. Please, don't tell me that there's cameos in any movies. Just keep it under wraps. Keep it like Amanda Waller has a secret agent sleeper cell. Like, she's protecting it. Keep it protected like, I don't know, who's somebody in DC who still has a secret identity? Is there anybody? I don't know. Bruce Wayne figured everybody out.
He did.
But he didn't figure out that ship. What was the name of the thing that he Googled in that movie?
Hold on. Where the fuck was the Justice League during any of this?
Hey. Maybe the Justice Society would have shown up. You're asking for a lot. Kind of like you're asking, like, why is there no more magic? I don't know. But keep in mind that dome was over Philadelphia for at least 3 days. Nobody tried.
No Zatanna.
Yeah, no Zatanna. No Constantine. Nobody was out there.
Exists.
Not anymore.
Well, I mean, there's 2 of them.
Yeah. No Flash. No Batman. Maybe they're preoccupied.
They could be off-world.
Yeah. Who knows?
They do that a lot.
Who knows? No Justice Society. No Hawkman. No Atom. Like, it's just like, At least when Thor: The Dark World happened, that was like an hour. So there wasn't like a lot of time where everybody could get together to figure out what was going on. But in this one, like 3 days and global coverage.
Batman should have at least showed up.
They should have shown up after the museum heist in the beginning of the movie.
Wonder Woman would have showed up after the museum heist.
They attacked Greece. Wonder Woman I'll just sit this one out.
Chill over
probably
here.
Probably nothing too big.
You know,
nothing. No.
Arthur.
Also,
they're doing stuff in the Arthur. You're fine.
Yeah.
You stay over
also, I know that we never mentioned this before, but I don't know if you're aware of this or not. But my dad used to have an island dedicated to just deities, and it exists in another dimension, and I could just happen to go there whenever I want.
Yeah.
Just a skill. Casually, I know I don't like to talk about it a lot. It's kind of like my invisible jet. We know it's there, but I don't talk about it. So there's a lot of stories that just I felt like they wanted to go places, but they were too busy trying to educate the audience so that the audience could go along. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that is the Thor: Love and Thunder syndrome. Like, you're like you got to figure out how to either show it or tell it.
Yeah.
Like, maybe starting the movie off with long ago. Like, start with the wizard. You guys put, like, 20 minutes worth of exposition in the beginning of Black Adam for no reason.
There shouldn't have been.
For no reason.
Nice about any of that.
Except to make it like, hey, this is Wakanda. But it's not Wakanda. It's our version. Just trust us.
Just be okay. It's Egypt. It's in Africa.
Just be okay with it. It's not Wakanda. It's something else. It's different.
I forgot.
It doesn't matter because it doesn't exist anymore. Thank you, James Gunn.
Write it off.
Yeah, it's like Steve was in there. So that said, there were good parts. I enjoyed the unicorns being evil. Cool, on board.
I just want to say one thing.
If you're going to talk about sponsorship, it doesn't happen.
Oh my God, there was so much. There was so much product placement. It's like, if there were any more product placements happening, I would have said ads. Well, those were ads. Skittles needs to pay these people right now.
They did. Oh, yeah.
Right
Skittles
now.
For sure did. There's no way around it.
Oh, my God. They were going to make that Taste the Rainbow line happen.
Yep.
Just get used to it. It's happening.
It was worse than in Wayne's World.
Contract or no, I will not bow to any sponsor.
Like, I mean, come on, guys. Like, I get it. And it was funny. It was a good line. But, like, again, you couldn't find your lane to stick in it, which is bad. So, overall, I'd say, like, is it worth watching? Yeah. Is it worth waiting until it's on HBO Max? Probably. I feel like there's a lot of helmship that needs to happen in order to fix it. And I'm hoping that happens. Maybe it's a thing where, like, DC's best bet is to do the multi-layered thing that James Gunn wants to do for storytelling. Like, because they've got, like, imagine this. Picture this, if you will. Yeah, exactly. Picture it. They spent...
Sicily, 1983.
Yeah, they spent 6 episodes on television on HBO Max with, like, 30 minutes. Yeah. So, like, 3 hours worth of television.
Okay.
Breaking down the wizard. Explaining the wizard's powers.
Yeah.
And then explaining who the Daughters of Atlas were and how they were a threat. And then dealing with Billy having problems because he's growing up and he doesn't know how to deal with it.
This could have been split into 4 HBO Max shows. It really could have.
And then, boom, you bring them together into one Shazam thing. Boom, Fury of the Gods. All right, we're off to the races. You don't have to explain anything because you've already got it.
Yep.
The people who already saw it are there. You could do a 5-minute recap at the beginning and just run with it.
Yep.
But instead, you opted to go of, like...
Let's put it all in the movie.
Nothing really that explained anything. You introduced villains in, like, the Killmonger way, but without Killmonger explaining anything.
Yeah, they didn't explain a daggone thing.
Yeah, like, it's just like, oh, they hate us.
That's
and then
not
it was like
how apples work.
And then you were halfway into the movie before you began to explain it. The pacing was kind of weird. But even
the explanation was, like, juxtaposed because they would explain this point, but that point counteracted this point, and I don't know.
And then you had the Tree of Life, which, yeah, I mean, okay. Most people are familiar with...
It gave a lot of birth.
Yeah, most people are familiar with Yggdrasil, but this was not Yggdrasil. And then you had, like, all the mythological Greek creatures, but not rooted in their Greek origins. Just their own thing. So, like...
You're right.
Cyclops, not a son of Poseidon, just a creature born of the tree. The Minotaur, not
Unicorn was the only like
not a
relatable
king
thing.
caught from Minos and transformed. You know, harpies were
They
harpies,
just
but not
looked like
cursed
sad,
things.
slimy things.
The Manticore looked awesome.
That did.
You don't have to explain that one.
That was
The
good.
minute the Scorpion Stinger showed up, I was like, oh, hey,
Oh, boy.
Manticores.
Bless that poor like featured extra that sat there on screen for 5 minutes and then got hooked.
Yeah, it's just...
I was like, wow.
And then, of
Choices.
course, you have the two fadeaway scenes. One linking it to Peacemaker, which, sure, why not? Peacemaker has become the through line. Like, Amanda Waller's trying to recruit everybody, except this time not the Suicide Squad, to the Justice Society, which should not be confused with the Justice League. They are different.
2 different names.
Yeah.
Still both Justice.
One reports
whatever.
to Waller and one doesn't.
Who knows?
Yeah. No, that's the difference.
No, I just said who knows.
and then you have the second fadeaway, which is the villain from the first one and the Caterpillar. But so there's a tease for a third one and a link into the DCEU.
And we're still probably not going to get the damn Caterpillar's like stuff.
Well, we might, because I mean it's either canon or elsewhere property. I don't know. I'm interested to see where they go, but again, I feel like the movie could have been more, but they already had too much. And
they did pack a lot into this movie.
Yeah, and maybe
I enjoyed it though. I did. It was entertaining. It was very entertaining. And because like what you said about the whole having seen that last trailer with Wonder Woman, did add a layer of intrigue to the movie to me, because the end stakes meant something to me, because I didn't know how they were going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
You know. But you were calling it left and right. I was like, well, yep, you're right. That does sound like the only thing that could happen to make this end.
Yeah, like the good storytelling stuff does happen in the film. I love the idea that like the wizard first shows up during a dream with Wonder Woman. Yeah, and of course they hint at the ending to the movie by blowing up the electric thing on his desk while he's asleep, and then they just reverse that to the ending. And I do agree. And I do agree with Shazam that it's kind of weird that it's a dragon. That's pretty awesome, but it is also made of wood, which is kind of weird, and animated with like blue. I enjoyed the references to other things, the Avengers, Game of Thrones. So again, it's chock full of like entertaining stuff. I just feel like it didn't know exactly what it wanted to be, and I feel like the problem is this, and it's a very simple one, and it's not one that Warner Brothers DC is going to want to hear.
What's that?
Mordo from Doctor Strange is correct. The problem with this movie is that there's too many sorcerers. Just make it one. I just need Billy and Shazam. I don't need the Shazam family. I don't need all the other
kids. The
kids.
Shazam family, unfortunately, is a part of the comics.
It might be part of the comics, but I'm saying, like, focus it in. Either make the Shazam family... Yeah, make
they probably didn't know how the first one was going to do well enough to make the second one. So they put the family in there to honor that happens in the comic.
Yeah, but then they solved it by the end of this one, because then it was like all the powers went back to just Billy, and I was like, perfect, we'll just leave it right there.
Except they didn't.
Yeah, and then they opted to give everybody back their powers. But wouldn't it have been a better story if you'd have made it? Yeah, wouldn't it have been better, though, if you just left Billy as the hero, but
For just one movie?
No, but then you made Freddy the new wizard.
He did know an awful lot about wizardry stuff. Thank you.
He knew all the mythic stuff. You introduce him to Steve. It lets Mary go on to live a normal life, which is what she wants. You let the other kids get to live their life, and then at some point they could become the Council of Wizards, because we have to get the wizards back. But, instead we're just, everybody's got Shazam powers.
Well, even the parents do now, too. Apparently.
No, they don't. They didn't have them. They're okay with
the next movie.
Yeah. In the next one, they'll have to choose a new kid to take over the powers. And now they have, what's her name, that can rewrite reality, kind of. Maybe she'll shield them from whatever it is the Flash is about to do.
You mean plot point? Plot armor?
Here's some plot armor to protect you, kids. They could have saved the Doom Patrol. I'm looking at you, Mr. Nobody. You could have done it. But this has been Joe.
Java.
and Oddcast, and we appreciate you guys hanging out with us for a little time. Stay safe. While you're in the comments telling us how wrong we were, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe and the little bell for notifications. It does. It helps us get to more people, including, hopefully, James Gunn. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Bye.